Hello again. Now, taking a look back to last year this time, a section of the Kruger National Park had lost 23 rhinos to poaching. That number has recently decreased to 5 rhinos since January this year. That's a 78% decrease in poaching incidents. Mining company Anglo American Platinum has since partnered with SanParks to assist with measures to curb rhino poaching. The company is supplying aircraft and other equipment used in locating wounded or snared animals that require medical attention, among others. To unpack this partnership further, I'm joined now by Nomonde Ndwalaza from Anglo American Platinum. Nomonde, good afternoon. Welcome to today, and thank you very much for your time. First up, for how long have you been partners with SanParks in the fight against rhino poaching?
Good afternoon, Bradan, and good afternoon to your listeners. So the relationship really started last year in November, where we donated bat hawk equipment to Kruger National Park, as you've mentioned. SanParks has been dealing with challenges related to poaching that I think all of us know very well. And so these bat hawks were really just a welcome and necessary intervention in terms of the fight against poaching. So just to give you a background in terms of actually the bat hawk aircraft, they themselves are literally the best answer that we have in terms of conservation outside of helicopters. They are fuel efficient, they offer good visibility, they also have a light undercarriage that helps with landing, particularly in porous, remote areas. So where a helicopter would use about 200 liters of fuel per hour, a bat hawk uses 16 liters of fuel.
How many of these aircraft have you made available to Kruger National Park?
So the initial donation last year in November was for 4 bat hawks. And this year we announced the growth of the collaboration because last week we actually handed over another bat hawk aircraft to Edo Elephant Park, which is in the Eastern Cape. And then we also announced that we will be also donating another bat hawk to Mapungubwe National Park. So the cumulative number at this stage is 6.
So there is 6. And we are seeing results. I mean, they are contributing to this decrease.
No, certainly. So we spoke to the rangers that work on the ground. So last year they were sitting at 23 rhinos in the Malelani section of Kruger National Park that they've lost. And now they are sitting on 5. And they really do attribute the decrease to a lot of the work that has been done with the bat hawks in terms of dehorning the rhinos, because a dehorned rhino then becomes a deterrent to poachers. But beyond that, there's a lot of work that has also been done with the bat hawks in terms of really just having better allocation of aerial resources at the park. So beyond anti-poaching, they are used in terms of locating wounded and snared animals, for instance, in terms of visible policing, water point monitoring, and soil erosion monitoring, but also in terms of also tracking some of the animals in areas where there's very low cell phone coverage.
Why is Anglo American Platinum doing this?
So if you think about us as an organization, Bradan, our purpose is really rooted in thinking through how we reimagine mining to improve people's lives. And in terms of our sustainable mine plan, we do have a healthy environment pillar that really looks at issues related to biodiversity, firstly, climate change, and water usage. So in terms of the objectives that we have, we want to have waterless, carbon neutral operations, but we also want to have a positive biodiversity outcomes where we operate. And so the understanding from us as an organization is this work, as important as it is, requires partnership. So when SanParks came to us, it was us thinking through the work that we are looking to operationalize in terms of our purpose and where we can actually just find synergies. And the feedback thus far has really been really positive in terms of the work that is being done.
Are you going to expand your involvement in this?
So there is quite a need from SanParks' perspective. And from our side, we are basically open to the collaboration growing, but we also understand that there are other corporates that might want to join us along the road. SanParks, for instance, has indicated to us that they also have a vision where they would want to actually establish a cadet program to get young people to get aerial experience so that they are the ones that are actually flying the bat hawk. So the vision is great and we work at it day by day.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly something to be welcomed, because we need to protect our wildlife, and rhinos have been targeted, and they continue to be targeted. Does this involvement of yours only extend or is restricted to equipment like the aircraft and other equipment, or are you also helping SanParks to capacitate them in terms of required skills in tracking poachers, arresting them, and so on?
So the opportunities for the exploration of the relationships are still there. It is a fairly new relationship, but we do have a Ambassadors for Good program, for instance, where if there is a program that you are working with in your community that links with the work that we are doing as an organization, you can apply for it. And SanParks last year applied for a grant through this program, and they were awarded a 100,000 Rand grant, which they will be using for drone equipment. So in addition to the Bathawks, they now have a drone that they will be implementing at Kruger National Park to assist with really just the anti-poaching conservation work, but also really just the better allocation, I think, of aerial resources for them. So that's really where we are at this stage.
Yeah, Nomonde, finally then, what will be your metric to measure your success of this partnership? Let's say we are talking to you this time next year. What would success look like for you in this partnership in supporting the anti-rhino poaching efforts by SanParks?
I think, Braden, there's a lot of work that was done to really better understand the strain that SanParks was under. And so the Bathawks are attempting to really be a solution to that. So the decrease, for instance, that we have in terms of the rhino poaching is a positive development, and we need to really keep our foot on the pedal in terms of better managing that. But I think just other feedback around, the vegetation aspect in terms of how they're managing that, the visible policing aspect, the continuous locating of wounded and snared animals. So those are really just our metrics in terms of the growth of the collaboration.
Thank you very much, Nomonde Ndwalaza from Anglo American Platinum, just unpacking for us a little bit more detail about their partnership in helping SanParks to fight against rhino poaching. I mean, the numbers don't lie. Just in the Kruger by itself, this time last year they had lost 23 rhinos. This year, only 5 rhinos have been lost since January. That's really good effort, and they are planning to expand their collaboration. Now,